A large new financial institution that is cooperating with Ripple is the setting for this episode, which takes place from there. The XRP and Bitcoin markets are the focus of our actions. What are those actions? Taking into consideration yet another flush down, another potential large move to the downside for a liquidation to cap off a bloody September. Before we have a green October, or October as some want to call it, I understand that this is something that is being considered. Therefore, let's get right in at the price of Bitcoin 6,000. Currently, it is not available for use. Ethereum finished the day at 237, representing a decrease of 2.28% from the previous day's price. Due to the fact that XRP is a major lane 57 cents, it has decreased by 4.2%, so that both USDT and USDC have arrived at their respective pegs of 99 cents rather than $1. Nevertheless, as was noted in the video that was posted the day before, there was a slight increase of up to 60 cents throughout the course of the weekend. At 60 cents, we observed that there is a large barrier, and at 60, 65, and 75 cents, there is a great deal of opposition to XRP. This is what happens when you come up against resistance. It just continuing over and over again, adding resistance on top of resistance. Don't be concerned, everyone. Nothing has changed with regard to the outcome of XRP. We have talked about it, and the moment for us to act is drawing near. Due to the fact that we would like to call this channel sooner rather than later, we are going to just chop the chop zone, chop city. There is, however, a disadvantage. Would it be possible for us to discuss the bomb badge chop, which is currently being held between 48 and 50,000? Perhaps we will go even further than we have already done. The market capitalization of cryptocurrencies, which is currently valued at $2 trillion and 56 billion XRP, is not necessary, according to Andrew Al, if you do not believe that the best incentive is not an incentive at all. Instead of attempting to alter the characteristics that set XRP apart from other cryptocurrencies, it is recommended to select those that offer financial incentives to validate transactions. He is correct in pointing out that 99% of cryptocurrency assets offer such incentives. As you can see, each of these other cryptocurrency companies is of the opinion that it is a good idea to provide individuals with benefits or incentives in exchange for their support. Look, Ripple is trying to tell you that that is not how we do things. According to our point of view, everybody who is interested in technology and wants to change the world, or even just wants to make a difference in the world, will actually take action. We will not provide you with an incentive for volunteering because doing so will only attract people who can't perform well, people who are awful players, and those who are uninterested in the cause. The fact that they are just interested in making a profit from it is what sets XRP apart in this context. On the other hand, the value of XRP will be determined by the level of demand for it among institutions. On this channel, we have talked about the exchange-traded fund ETF. Additionally, we have already won the trust, which is the initial step towards winning the exchange-traded fund ETF, so everything is starting to come together. On the other hand, as was noted earlier, working with banks and governments and having conversations about financial concerns takes a considerable lot of time. I want to stop talking about XRP being a cent or cents after 7 years and instead start talking about it being in dollars. I want to use the dollar as the unit of measurement. The moment when we can finally stop speculating about XRP slipping into that price range will be the turning point, the moment when we can finally stop speculating. The possibility of either the Federal Reserve or Bitcoin having a substantial impact has become more and more likely. The report forecasts that the Federal Reserve will reduce interest rates during the course of this week. In the first time since the company's inception, that is significant. Due to the fact that what is bringing down the interest rate? The entire economy as well as the Bitcoin markets are both positively impacted as a result of this authentic contribution. When we conduct an accurate analysis of the economy, we will find that borrowing will increase while spending will drop. A reduction in interest rates will be implemented for both individuals and businesses, which will result in an increase in investment and consumption. What about raising the amount of money you invest? Savings accounts and bonds lose their appeal as interest rates rise since they will provide a reduced return. This is because investors are typically pushed towards riskier investments when interest rates are higher. What kind of cryptocurrency is most suitable for this profile? This is especially true in the event that new rules are put on top of them, which will ultimately lead to a reduction in inflation through various means. There is a possibility that interest rates may promote demand and spending, which could result in inflation and an increase in the number of central banks. As you probably have realized, during periods of deflation, central banks usually reduce interest rates in order to drive up prices, which brings about a weakening of the currency. When a country reduces its interest rates, the value of its currency may decrease in comparison to other currencies. Increasing the price of exports while simultaneously decreasing the cost of imports is now a viable strategy for supporting export-driven economies. Next, let's talk about cryptography. What advantages does the use of cryptocurrencies offer? Due to the fact that Bitcoin is more risky than other assets, it is able to attract more capital, which has the potential to provide returns that are higher than the interest rates that are currently in effect. The economy will have more money available to spend if these bank rates are decreased to CDs, treasury bonds, and other similar instruments. His is because the cost of borrowing a portion of that capital will be cut. In times of interest, what kinds of resources are available to flow into alternative assets such as cryptocurrency? Because of the low interest rates and yields on traditional assets such as bonds, investors are drawn to riskier assets such as cryptocurrencies. In the following section, we will discuss the concept of storing value, arguing that Bitcoin can be used as a hedge against inflation. These are being looked into. And we do this playbook looks like a predetermined conclusion given that we have been discussing the push-up that occurred in the fourth quarter, as well as numerous cryptocurrencies summer 2025 parabolic blow-off tops. It is anticipated that the Federal Reserve's statement that it will be lowering interest rates will stimulate both the economy and the cryptocurrency market. This might potentially encourage risk-taking in investments and could also raise fears about inflation, both of which could further drive interest in the cryptocurrency markets. I would like to explore deeper into this subject. On our program, they highlighted their attempts to establish the first blockchain in the history of the world, integrating it with Ripple custody, and laying the groundwork for the future of digital finance. With great deliberation, the Web3 community has selected this smart finance blockchain, which promotes the use of decentralized finance cryptocurrency that is both secure and lawful. Due to the fact that we are connected to the Ripple VR, we are listening, and we sincerely want to discover a great deal more. Our number one objective will be to make use of any native Ripple components that are available for the ledger. If I am able to join Auto, I am hoping that this will be an excellent area for me to do so. You should think about bringing your own distinctive point of view to the table. You are essentially asserting that RLUSD will be an asset with the same mobility as Auto if it is live on the ledger, which is a statement that is valid. Tokens, just like any other token, make it possible for any individual to take part in the provision of financial products and services on an equal footing. It is true that this is very wonderful news. In addition, the incorporation of any other token is a significant development in its own right. This is the Twitter account linked to the blockchain automatically. Gary Gensler is somebody you should follow if you are interested in doing so. It is going to be fascinating to watch how far they have come, particularly with regard to the incorporation of triple custody. However, it was evident that confusion throughout this entire period was their purpose, as the entire Ripple ecosystem, notably XRP, suffered tremendous losses. The SEC now claims to regret any misunderstanding that may have occurred, but it was obvious that confusion was their plan. The jury ought to make a guilty verdict for Gary Jin. All investors in Ripple Labs should be compensated for any fines that were incurred, and Gary Jin should be found guilty of the charges. I concur that this manner of communication leads to widespread misunderstandings and as of this moment is detrimental to XRP investors. If the SEC investigation into XRP had never been opened, we would have reached an all-time high in the year 2020. What would have happened? Indeed, there was never even an investigation into the matter. Instead, it was a straightforward legal dispute that went on for a number of years. However, we continued to increase until the announcement of the lawsuit about the A190, following which we saw a big decrease that brought us back down to 17 cents. I do not believe that the price of XRP would be between 50 and 60 cents. I am convinced that the value of XRP would have risen above its current levels, hitting the dollar range and possibly reaching the blow-off peak or ultimate move that is anticipated in this bull cycle. I have every reason to believe that this phenomenon would have occurred. Reputable cryptocurrencies joined in, and some people have pointed out that we never made up to 61 to 62,000. And it is true that this was the optimal rejection zone indicated in estates. You can see this in his most current video, which you can see below in the image. Currently, we are maintaining the range at its greatest possible points. Whether we are willing to take a chance or we have the choice to climb back up to 6162K before continuing our descent, we have the option. This is not the end of the playbook book. Imagine, then, the various possible consequences. Following a further retest of Bitcoin in the bottom of this chop zone, we would reach between $48,000 and $50,000 levels. It is not necessary for this to take place, although it might. Why, therefore, am I going to tell you this? This is due to the fact that in the event that this occurs, you ought to be prepared for one more opportunity to purchase, as I believe that the fourth quarter is going to be the time when we begin to see this Bitcoin and the markets finally pop. This is the time when I believe that Bitcoin is going to push up and make that run and break that. It is anticipated that the price of Bitcoin will break through the barrier of $774,000, accelerate